This is Courage Barbell, and I am your host, Chad Ikes. Today's episode is going to be on depression, feelings, logic, and how all these things wrap into each other. And this is from personal experience, and actually it's from personal experience over the past week or two. For those of you that don't know me, I was a very successful power lifter. Also played around with strongman, Highland Games a little bit, but my main focus was powerlifting. I was one of the best in the world. And during this time, I had a little bit of fame, and I would try to use that fame to talk about some of the issues that I dealt with, and I was always very open with those issues. Those issues are clinical depression. I was actually diagnosed as bipolar. I think maybe that diagnosis wasn't completely correct. I have had massive sleep issues since the 5th grade. And just a lot of those like negative mental issues that I've still managed to become successful in powerlifting, and at the time was like one of the best powerlifters out there. And still to this day, that's something that I want to promote and I want to help people with, because I think there are a lot more people suffering than other people think. And I think one of the problems is that there's a lot of people suffering, and I know this firsthand. There's a lot of people suffering that feel alone. And there's a lot of people suffering that feel like they can't achieve and they can't be successful because of this. And that's why I want to bring it to the forefront. I want to make this more public. I want to make people more, or should I say less afraid to be open about it. And I also want to help the friends and loved ones that know people that are suffering with these things. I want to help give them some advice to help their friends and loved ones. I want to help them have a better understanding of what's actually going on. So let me start by saying all of these things like depression, bipolar to an extent, suicidal thoughts, normal people, we have normal people over here, we have the clinical depressed over here. Okay, we all feel the same things. The biggest difference is the severity and the intensity of those feelings. I know lots of people that would be considered normal, that most of the time are pretty happy and nobody knows that they ever really have any issues. Well, these people still have bad days. You know, they have days where things don't feel right. They have days where things go wrong and snowball throughout the day. They have days where, people go, gosh, I should have just stayed in bed today. And they have days where it's hard to get motivated. That's a normal thing. That's part of being a human. And well, the clinically depressed people go through that same thing, only their bad days are not days, it's weeks and months. And instead of being, say, on a 1 here, there are 10 here. Say 10% worse or 100% worse for some people. And the control is an interesting concept, because I don't think we can control our initial feelings. That's just part of something that happens, but we can control how we continue to feel, and we can most definitely control our actions after that. So I've heard this quite a bit before in the past, where people are like, just don't feel depressed. Just get up and go outside and like make yourself happy. Okay. Yeah, I can understand that to a certain extent. And this is where I think people don't understand. I have days like my range is here to here. It's the 1 and the 10. Well, I have days that are 2s and 3s, or it's like, I just things aren't good, don't feel good. All right, I'm going to get up, take my raise out in the desert, and I'm just hell with it. And I end up having a good day, and I end up feeling really good. There are days that you can do that. But I've been in the 10 area too. And trust me, I have a very strong will and a very strong mind. And if there's days where I can't just make myself happy, good luck finding somebody who can. I mean, that's kind of arrogant, but Like I'm pretty good at controlling my mind like that. So I think that's the difference between like the normal bad days and bad days for like clinically depressed people. But still, if you do suffer from depression like me, do not feel like you have no control, because you still have plenty of control. What happened for me? I'm changing careers. I have a small granite company, and I want to get out of that. It's just hard on my back. It's hard work. I have tons and tons of skills in strength training, in lifting. I have skills in mobility, flexibility. Like I can help an 80-year-old lady get in shape. I want to do more for people and have a job that makes me a little more satisfied. So I'm moving from one to the other, which is kind of a risky thing. Just a lot of moving parts. I have a lot of ideas. So recently it's been a lot of stress, and then I had a little low back tweak, which affected my sleep, which is already bad. And I'm just over the past couple of days started realizing, hey, I am suffering from some mild depression. This is nothing bad. I know bad, and this is not that bad. But it gave me the idea for this video. The last couple of days have just been those days where nothing seems to go right and everything seems to be a mess. I was having trouble doing some stone work because we do a lot of finesse work if you're cutting out a sink and polishing, and I do a lot of that by hand. The end product was still really good, but man, I was struggling, having a hard time like getting things right. And I was dropping a lot of stuff, and then yesterday I burned an inch on a piece, which luckily we had enough left over that it was no big deal. I just had to redo it. And that can be a hugely expensive thing with stone. If you mess up the wrong piece and you don't have enough left, you got to go buy what could be thousands of dollars worth of stone to finish this piece that you messed up. But I burned an inch on it, and it was really, that one was hard for me. It was very frustrating. And I got to thinking throughout that day, I'm like, Chad, this isn't, like, wait a minute, what's going on here? This isn't you. This is not how you normally are. And that was when I started thinking back to the past couple weeks, and I'm like, I'm in a little depression wave right now. And so I need to be careful. And I need to put my best foot forward, and I need to use my brain. And I need to think about these things, and I need to take control of this situation. Sometimes in life, people will tend to think that if they can't make the outcome exactly what they want, then they don't have control. Which is not true. Sometimes there is no perfect outcome, but you do have control to make it the best outcome possible. Okay? Like I said, I'm not going to be able to go, that's it, I'm not going to feel depression because I don't want to. Well, there's chemical stuff going on in my brain that I have no control over. I'm in this little rut, and that's fine because I'm going to come back out of it. But while I'm in this rut, I'm going to make it the absolute best I can because that's my choice. So as the day went on, I went, okay, Chad, here's what happened. You felt the frustration. Okay, now let it go because it's done. There's no point in focusing on it. Let it go. When you move on to this next piece, just double check it a little more. Slow down a little bit. Like try to focus harder and spend a little more time thinking and a little less time action because you know that you're off a little bit. And that's the control that we do have. And now that I think back over the past couple of weeks, I'm starting to go, okay, what did I miss? Because I think all of us in life we all have triggers. We all have things that set us off. We all have things that will make us feel bad. But if we can learn the triggers and we can learn the symptoms of these things, the sooner we can catch it, the better off we're going to be. Like this one, didn't get that bad. And with me and my depression, it can get bad because once I get depressed, I start seeing things in a negative light. And that brings my depression level down a little bit. As I'm depressed, depression can actually affect you physically a lot. It can make you feel exhausted. It can make you feel tired, less motivated. It can affect your hand-eye coordination. When I'm going through more and more severe depression, like my motor skills get off, my muscle control gets off, my proprioception gets off. And over the last couple of days, I've been dropping a bunch of stuff too, which is really frustrating for me. But once I know that, okay, these kind of things are going to happen, and just accept it. Don't get upset about it. Don't let it feed into it. Don't let it get worse and worse and worse. And then, as my depression gets worse, as my negativity gets worse, then my sleep gets worse. Now my worse sleep makes the depression get worse, which makes the negativity get worse. And you keep going down and down and down and down, and the snowball keeps going faster and faster and faster and faster. And before you know it, you're at the bottom, and everything in life sucks. I have control to stop that. I used to go through mania episodes. And that was one of the main reasons when I took all the tests for bipolar and stuff that they thought I was bipolar. Well, I've now noticed that, and I've noticed my triggers, and I notice what's happening, and I can pull the reins back to where I don't have this insane mania phase and the insane crash afterwards. So even if you do suffer from depression, and even if you're a regular person, like, pay attention to the things around you and what's going on and how you react. When I was researching a lot in communication, one of the things that kept coming up is they kept talking about how you are in charge of your feelings. No one can make you feel anything. And I struggled with that for a long time. And my major example of that was, if somebody comes up and punches me in the face, it's his fault I'm pissed off, and I'm going to punch him back in the face. And then I come to accept and realize that, no, he punched me in the face, and that was wrong, and that was bad, and he probably deserves to be punched back in the face. But me being mad about it is my choice. I mean, I think we have an initial feeling that we don't really have a lot of control over, but it's right after that feeling goes, it's up to us to go, okay, wait a minute. Do I want to be pissed off about this? Do I want to punch him back in the face? At that point, it's your choice. So anytime somebody makes you feel anything, it's your choice to stay feeling that way or to not. If you're driving to work in the morning and somebody cuts you off, it's your choice if you're pissed off the rest of the day because of that. You know, that person can cut you off and you're like, son of a... that. Okay, that's your natural, that could be your natural reaction, your natural feeling that just comes out. But right then you have that choice. Hey, listen, no accidents happened, nobody got hurt. Do I want to be pissed off about this and ruin the rest of my day, or do I just want to go, what an asshole, that sucked. All right, let me get to work and let's get on with my day. That's our choice. So the same choice, if you suffer from depression and stuff, you still have this same choice. And this is where I see, as human beings, we have emotions, we have feelings. It's part of being a human. But we also have the choice to see reality. We have the choice to react to those emotions and react to those feelings. That's up to us. So a lot of people that I've seen feel like they really feel like, well, this is the way I feel. It's just the way I feel. Well, okay, yeah, to some extent. Initially, how you feel is how you feel. But you have a choice how you want to react to that and what you want to do to that. And that's the truth. And that's a good thing. That's a great thing. I don't know why people argue with me about that. Like, that's a great thing to go, hey, I do have a choice. But that's also taking responsibility, okay? Like, if somebody says something to me and I get my feelings hurt, I need to take responsibility for those feelings that I let get hurt. And I need to take responsibility for how I'm going to react to that. The funny thing is a lot of times when you get your feelings hurt, it's a misunderstanding. And if you did just go, wow, man, that hurt my feelings. Like, did you say that hurt my feelings? Did you say that because of this or that? And the people go, oh, no, man, I didn't mean it. No, that's not how I meant it. And right there, bam, the whole thing could be worked out. But you got to have that control in order to get to that point. So the thing here is I want people that suffer from stuff to don't feel like you don't have any control, because you do have control. Don't feel like you have this and that's it. That's the end of the world. It's not. Life can be life is just life. I don't think it's fair or unfair. I think it just happens. But just because we were dealt with a certain deck doesn't mean we shouldn't make the best of it. I dealt with this in strength sports. I dealt with this all the time, where people are like, oh, that guy's just got genetics. Well, that guy's on drugs. Well, that guy has a better coach. Well, that guy has... And all these people are making excuses when there doesn't need to be any excuse, when they could be just as successful if they wanted to. I was a perfect example of that. I didn't have a coach. I found a coach who I started through seminars. And I paid for the seminar just like everyone else did, but I took away the information where they didn't. I made a point to talk to that person to make a connection with him. I was never super great at sports. Always had to work my butt off. I was never just this genetically strong guy. Like, everything was work. Everything was hard. And I made it to the highest level. And at one point was ranked, I think, second in the top 100. But I chose to not let there be an excuse. Okay, hey, if these other guys are on drugs, then fine, whatever. I don't care. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm going to do. It doesn't matter. Oh, this guy, hey, has got great genetics. Yeah, he does. So what? I'm going to work smarter. I'm going to learn more. He has the great genetics, which he's probably going to sit on and use, where I'm going to have to work harder, but my harder work and my learning and all the stuff that I put in is going to put me ahead of him. And it did. So it is about, it's about learning and about being smarter and about making the best choices that we can make. It's about taking the time to learn your triggers. And this is the same thing, say, like an alcoholic, just popped in my head. Alcoholics deal with this all the time. If you're an alcoholic, there's a conflict on whether that's a chemical imbalance or if that's willpower or whatever. If you're an alcoholic and you can't handle alcohol, then you need to learn what your triggers are. You need to learn, hey, I'm starting to feel this way. This is when I usually go off the wagon. So I know that this is happening. Now I need to be aware and I need to be very conscious about how I look at things and the decisions I make. And that goes with any sort of addiction. It goes with nutrition. It goes with finance. It goes with all that stuff. I mean, we all do that too. There's a tendency throughout my family to go buy something if you feel bad. And, you go buy a car because you feel bad and you feel great for a week or two driving your new car around, and then the first payment comes and you're like, oh, that kind of sucks. And now all of a sudden you're right back where you were, but now you have a payment on top of it. And it's learning that when these moods come along, I need to be more aware. I need to pay more attention. And I need to control myself and not just fall victim to what's going to happen. Same thing in nutrition. If you're trying to lose weight and you start going, hey, here's the times that I've binged, here's kind of what happened, here's how I started feeling. Now you can pay attention to those things and hopefully catch this sooner before you go on some crazy binge. And go, wow, man, you know what? I'm starting to feel a little depressed. My sleep hasn't been good. This is the beginning of a path where I used to go completely off my nutrition. So what I need to do is I need to make sure that I get extra sleep this weekend, or I need to back off my training a little bit, and I need to do this, or I need to take this time to, if anything, if you're feeling depressed, and what are the things in the past that have helped you start feeling better? Make sure you add more time into your schedule to do those things. It's all really very individual, but it's the same process. It's learning the path that leads down, learning the triggers that happen to push you down that path, and then it's learning what happens as you're going down that path and what control do you actually have over those things. Can you catch them soon enough to start changing it, and then can you make sure that once it starts, you can reverse those decisions and not follow those emotions down that negative rabbit hole. Another example I want to talk about this one, and I don't think I've said it on this video yet, but I think I'm an okay looking guy. Definitely not going to see me on the cover of GQ magazine or Muscle and Fitness, but I think I'm an all right looking guy. And throughout, when I'm feeling good and life's going good, I'll be brushing my teeth or whatever, and I'll look in the mirror and I'm like, yeah, it's not a bad looking guy. And if I'm in depression, and depending on how severe that depression is, I'll get up in the morning and I'll be combing my beard out and I'm like, man, just like I look in the mirror and I see a monster. Like I see this hideous, ugly person. My body image, I'll look hugely fat to me. Or I mean, I'm kind of fat anyway, but I mean, everything looks horrible about my body, about my face. And I've gotten to the point, because I've had enough experience with all this stuff, that when that happens, I go, whoa, Chad, back off, man. Like your face physically did not change from a week or two ago. And your body physically did not change from that time either. Like this is your mind playing a trick on you, and you need to not let those emotions run wild. Like you need to go, wait a minute, listen, Chad, here's the logic. Here's the reality of this situation. And then I'm okay with it. I'm like, all right, well, I look like crap in the mirror today, whatever. Like, because I know it's not true. I know as soon as I get out of this little funk, I'm going to be right back to where I was going, it's not bad looking. Double bicep in the mirror to make myself happy. And that goes for everybody. We all have days. We really need to learn. Emotions are great and they're fun, and feelings are fun, and especially when they're good feelings. And we're human. That's part of being a human. Don't try to stop your emotions or feelings, but do try to take control of what you react to them, or how you react to them. And I want people to know, especially people that suffer from stuff like I do, I want people to know that you have control, you have power. Okay? You have the power to make it the greatest life possible. We all have stuff to deal with. All of us. It's part of being human. But you have control. Don't feel like, I'm screwed. This happened to me. So what? You can still be successful. You can still have a good life. And then for those people that know someone that suffers with this, please just try to take a second to think about their situation and where are they coming from their perspective, and ask questions. If somebody goes, oh, man, I'm so depressed, I can't get out of bed. And you're going, what lazy fuck, just get the hell out of bed, man. What's your problem? Like, take a minute to step back and go, wait a minute. What are you going through? What are you feeling? And look at their mannerisms and look at how they feel. I mean, my good friends know when I'm going through stuff just by the look on my face. I mean, my eyes will change. You'll see it in my face when my sleep's really bad. You'll see it in my face when I'm depressed. You'll notice it in how I move and walk and everything. And most people, when they feel a little down, it's not that major because they're not feeling it to that extent. So I'm gonna end this one right now. Please like this channel, subscribe to this channel, share this channel. I really want this thing to grow. The more you guys like it, the more you comment to it, the more you follow it, the more you share it, the more I can make this grow, the more I can do these videos and try to be a positive source in the world today, and put out more content to make people courageous to stand up. And when you boil it all down, that's what this is. This is the courage. It's the courage to go, wait a minute. I want to base my reactions on reality, not on my emotions. I want to know what the truth is. I want to see the truth, and I want to react to that truth. And that takes courage. It's easy to wallow in your feelings. It's easy to, I just want to feel good all the time. And no, sometimes you feel bad. That's part of life. Accept all the emotions and then look at the logic of it and then make your decisions based on that. And that takes courage. That's a courageous life if you can live that way. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Take it easy. Hope everyone has a great evening. Bye.